Good morning. I'm Dr. Shaila, Associate Professor from Department of Chemistry, and I'll be the MC for today's program. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for the third day of the international webinar, Trends in Chemical Science, Challenges and Opportunities. First and foremost, I would like to thank all the participants for retaining the same enthusiasm throughout the course of the webinar and showing the great deal of zeal and eagerness for this webinar. As the saying goes, unity is strength when there is teamwork and collaboration, and wonderful things can be achieved. Let's begin today's program with the same strength and an everlasting positivity. We have with us today an eminent speaker from the land of rising sun, Professor Kenji Monde, Faculty of Advanced Life Science, Hokkaido University, Japan. Before the session begins, I would like to remind the participants, if they have any questions during the presentation, please post them to the question chat box. At the end of the presentation, we will have the question and answer session to answer your questions. Now I request Dr. Sandhya NC, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, to introduce our respected speaker, Professor Kenji Monde.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Kenji Monde. He is a Faculty of Advanced Life Science, Dean and Director of Frontier Research Center for Advanced Material and Life Sciences, Hokkaido University, Japan. He got his Doctor of Science in 1993 from Hokkaido University. He did his postdoctoral studies in USA. His research interests and areas are chirality inhibitors, glycoconjugates, lipid chemical biology, and nanotechnology materials. He is a member of Molecular Chirality Research Organization. He has received the Molecular Chirality Award in 2019 and has published more than 150 research articles. He is also having professional membership in the Japanese Conference on the Chemistry of Lipids. He had completed more than 30 research projects and right now is having 9 industrial property rights. So with this brief introduction, I am going to hand over this session to you, sir.
Okay, shall we start on that one more?
Yes, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Okay. And first of all, how about this one? It's working or it's not working? Just wait for a while. Just in case. How about this one? It's working or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. Can you hear me or?
It's audible, sir.
Okay.
It's
okay.
audible.
Okay.
And you can hear the PPT also, sir. You please proceed.
Okay. Thank you very much for the chairperson, the kind interaction. And also, this is a very good opportunity and to talk about our result of it. Because of on the Japanese situation also, it's not so good about that, but we cannot go abroad. So I think this is almost a rare case to have a talk that as an international. But and this is for amazing for me and to such a kind of Zoom webinar to have between the two countries of that one. Anyway, so here and you can see, and this is our university, and Hokkaido, Sapporo is located for the northern area, and Japan, and 2 million people is living here, and this is what is the central station, and just 5 minutes walk, we have a big, huge campus from here, very huge campus, and almost near the center of the city, so it's very convenient. And right now, so you can see fall season. It means the leaf is turned to yellow, sometimes turned to red. It's a very beautiful season. But also the fall, autumn season, summer is coming back from the ocean, and also this is the museum and aquarium, where we can see the bottom of the river directly. So from that one, I took the picture. So many salmon is now coming back from the ocean. Or sooner or later, we will have a snow. And here is the snow season. And the whole the campus was covered for the snow. And this is also a very beautiful scene. Okay, let's go back to them. Today, I'm going to talk about natural and the synthetic inhibitor of a lipid-related enzyme targeting metabolite syndrome and cancer and Alzheimer's disease. As a professor kindly introduced, our group is mainly focused on two topics. One is the chirality, and the other was a lipid. Today, mainly I'm going to talk about sphingnochemical biology, focus on the chirality of that. Many people might know about chirality. Chirality is kind of the hand, hand. Structure that it cannot overlap with the corresponding mirror image. Structure with the chirality, we call it chiral. Structure without the chirality, we call it achiral. And most of the molecules, such as carbohydrates, amino acids, protein, or some of the secondary metabolites in the plant, is all the chiral. Of course, it's the come from the Greek hand, right? Sometimes we call it the chiropractic, so it's come from. So hand never overlaps. The molecule also, you might know when the carbon has the different for substitute, it's always become chiral. Okay, typical chiral introduction is a drug. Recently, drug, the all half of the drug is approximately half is a chiral drug. The structure is the old and typical old drug. It's named thalidomide. Structure of the thalidomide is like this one, which has the one asymmetric center, right? So this is a good sleeping drug, which was sold in almost 60 years ago, right? You can imagine 60 years ago, we don't have any chiral technology. We cannot synthesize one enantiomer. We don't have any concept of the asymmetric synthesis. Of course, recently, most people do asymmetric synthesis. Also, the 60 years ago, we don't have any technique, just analyze chirality, very, very tiny amount. Only one technique is optical rotation. So so the most of people belong to the department of chemistry. Someone know the optical rotation. It's the theoretically correct, but it's very hard to measure that one. It's almost 200 years technique, but still we use. But you can imagine it's hard to the analyze, hard to the synthesize for one energy. So that's why, so at that time, so we sell it in the racemic, 50 and 50 mixture. But this is a very good sleeping reagent. So our enantiomer is very good sleeping in this. Why? Yes, enantiomer was the teratogenicity. So they have a serious side effect. So when the pregnant women and use this drug, so baby, the hand is very short. So this is 60 years ago, the tragedy. So from this, the tragedy, so many pharmaceutical company and the government and the scientists was very careful about chirality, especially for drug. But it says it is reasonable because our body made by the chiral molecule. For example, protein or everything is a chiral. So it's mean chirality is the essential for the chemistry and drug discovery. So chirality of the biomolecule. So nucleic acid, DNA, RNA, which have the carbohydrate part, it's of course it is the chiral. Also protein. Protein is made by the amino acid. Amino acid is based on the L amino acid. Sometimes they use a D amino acid, but usually in the L amino acid. We call it the homochirality. But as a result, the protein has the chirality of that one. Carbohydrate. They have usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 asymmetric center, more even the mono carbohydrate. They are accumulate of the chirality. But how about lipid? Nobody care about that. Not nobody, but not many researchers don't care about this chirality. This cartoon showed some simple Cinderella. There is a two old sister, elder sister. Elder sister always how do you say, strong. They complain about youngest sister. This is the sister protein and the sister carbohydrate. And the Cinderella is the youngest one, and she is a lipid. And two big elder sister is the protein and the carbohydrate. They say, Cinderella, are you truly chiral? Well, the chiral officer said, she has a chiral, and she is chiral. Okay, lipid case. What kind of lipid do you know? Lipid case is the mainly two groups. One is the glycerolipid, the other is the sphingolipid. Of course, they have a minor other one, but mainly we can focus glycerol and sphingolipid. In case of the glycerolipid, and here is a typical glycerolipid, they have a major component glycerin. Glycerin have three hydroxy group, and from that one, two fatty acid was attached. Sometimes three, but usually two or okay. And this is the arachidonic acid. This is the DHA of that one. When we esterify, they make the two ester here. So this longer chain has the very long ground and one asymmetric center here, right? So, but two component is a chiral. But this, because of this is the enzymatic reaction, the resulting glycerol lipid is the chiral. But and as you can imagine, there is a so similar fatty acid chain, so it's very hard to distinguish. So we use the vibrational 3D technique for determining for this one. So vibrational circular dichroism is the 3D circular dichroism is a kind of chiral technique because of light has the mainly two light. One is the linear light, the other is the circular polarization light. In case of the circular polarization, they have two types, and right circular, the left circular. But absorption ratio is the different. It depends on the chiral molecule. So result and ultraviolet absorption, corresponding ultraviolet absorption, we can measure the circular dichroism spectrum. So usually, and most of the research are focused on the UV or visible circular dichroism. But we use the infrared vibrational circular dichroism. This is the IRCD. Because of almost all compounds have absorption of the IR region. So advantage of the VCD is the reliable ab initio molecular orbital method. No need for the compound. Large amount of the structure information. And the disadvantage is the low sensitivity. But however, during the research of the VCD, we have applied to check for the chirality of the this lipid. As you can see, optical rotation is almost nothing, very low. Structure is like this one. They have a longer fatty acid chain. Once it's a longer, even the double bond. And this is the VCD signal. I'm sorry, this is the IR signal. This is the VCD signal. So when the around the 1700 Kaiser, there is a carbonyl absorption is here. Corresponding VCD signal, it's a splitted type and easy to detect. This is a very specific method to detect for the small chirality, and that's why we publish for the JAX communication on that one. For 5, sphingolipid, another group. As you can see, they have two chiral systems. Okay. Also, they have a primary OH and the secondary OH, and the secondary amino group is here. And usually C18 carbon chain with this position double bond in case of the mammalian. Okay, chiral analysis of the sphingolipid. And the sphingolipid is like this one. As I told you, they have two OH group and the amino group is here. C16 longer side chain with one double. Usually they have acyl group here. Acyl group was attached for the amino group is amine. And this carbon number is not unique. They have several types from C14 and C30 of that. In case of the H, this is called ceramide. And the most people have a skin barrier has this ceramide engine. Also, ceramide is apoptosis inducer. So as you can imagine, and this lipid is ubiquitous for the life. Okay, especially in the mammalian, we need this one for the essential component like protein or DNA. While phosphate group is attached as a head group And this one, sphingosine 1-phosphate. This is a very good, the second message, a kind of a signal transducer. Sometimes it works for the immunosuppressive. And when we attach for the choline group, quaternary amino group and the phosphate group as a head group, we call it sphingomyelin. This is a very important membrane component. And also work for the signal transmission. And mainly our cell membrane made by ceramide and the sphingomyelin, the ratio of these two components is important. Sometimes makes the a kind of specific region we call microdomain. And if you when attached for the carbohydrate, we call it this one is the GM3, and also this is the work for the receptor. Okay, as I told you, they have two asymmetric center. It's here. So theoretically, it means we have four isomer, stereoisomer. That is D erythro, L erythro, D stereo, L stereo. So as you can see, the structure is slightly different. So optical rotation has measured for this sphingosine without acid group. We call it the sphingo base or sphingosine. Optical rotation is almost same. So it means hard to distinguish for using for this optical rotation. But the natural configuration is believed. So amino acid homochirality is believed L. But recently, so many D amino acid found our body, right? Especially when we get old, as the setting turn to the D. Also, in the brain, D amino acid has a great work for that one. So nobody know every sphingosine is D erythro or not because there is no practical technique to find it. That's why if once it's believed, it must be the D erythro. So we don't know. The later researcher is believed it must be the D erythro, but we don't have any special technique of that one. So first, we have applied for previous vibrational CD technique of the 4 diastereomer, stereoisomer. Here is the IR signal. Here is a VCD signal. So each color is corresponding for the each diastereomer, stereoisomer. So from these techniques, maybe we can distinguish, but there is some problem. But as you can see, the solvent is the deuterium methanol. The also signal is broadening because of the once BCD is the depend of the conformation, as you can imagine, and there is a fatty like a fatty acid. So many conformer could be exist. Also, there is one is the hydrophobic part, the other, this part is the hydrophilic part, so-called amphiphilic. Amphiphilic is very hard to dilute or measure as a sole compound. Sometimes it might make the micelle, right? So that's why we use the deuterium. To avoid for this kind of future, we use a protecting group. Protecting group we use a glutaraldehyde. Glutaraldehyde is the C5 carbon with the 2 aldehyde, right? It's very reactive. Sometimes we use the stabilize for the protein of that one because they react with the very rapidly amino group. So we have found one paper by Japanese researcher. It's react with this 1,3-OH 2 amino group selectively to make this 3 cyclic ring of that one. As you might, as a chemist, you might imagine this is a soluble for all the organic compound. So also reduction, the fixed ring reducing conformation. So it means the VCD signal could be the increase, right? So we can use the chloroform and very good signal of that one. Okay, we have noticed about this, the unique, reaction is the room temperature, rapidly work at the room temperature and the high yield. Also, it works in aqueous solution. So it means could be the useful and chemoselective toward 2 amino 1,3-diol function. So it means once we use the reactivity of the utilize for this reactivity, we can selectively 2 amino 1,3-diaxal functional compound that is the spingo base, sphingosine. So we can selectively extract for the sphingosine. So idea is like this one. So there is a mixture, it's like that one. So very hard to distinguish of that one. Once we make the resin with attached for the glutaraldehyde, this resin catch the selectively and sphingosine. After that, we can release the reaction and then exchange the attached for the fluorescent and check for that chirality of that with the chiral HPLC, because VCD is very good, but still we need a large amount sample. But once we want to check all the small sample, for example, for the human body or anything, we need and very high sensitive analysis technique. That's why we apply for this resin for the chiral analysis with the fluorescence. Anyway, we have a synthesize, and this is called OPA with this SH and OH group with buffer. They immediately make OPA derivatives. These are fluorescence chromophore. So it means react and the sensitivity is very high. So we have applied to chiral separation using a chiral column. This chiral column is available for Japanese company Day-3. So we have applied the chiral pack IB. So it works D-erythro, L-erythro within the 5.8, 6.5 minutes. It's very short time. This is the point, because if it takes 1 hour to separate, we cannot do a lot of sample. If it's shorter retention time, we can do a lot of sample using a machine with the overnight of that one. So he found, our colleague found the good condition, but stereotype, we cannot do it again. So we have changed for the column. Instead of a chiral cell IB, I use the chiral cell IF. And it works. D-stereo, L-stereo-case analysis with chiral pack IB and IP. So we are now almost establishing the tiny amount of the chiral separation system. Now we are going to checking the mammalian and sphingosine, is the chirality is unique or not. So next topic is the creation of the chiral ceramide library and stereo effect of the sphingomyelin synthetase activity. So we have just to focus one enzyme, sphingosmielin synthase, so-called SMS. What is the SMS? SMS is a ceramide, a component of the skin, a component of the cell membrane. With the phosphatidylcholine, the choline part is the transfer to this OH group, make this one. It's called the sphingomyelin. And as a side product, they produce the drug, deacetylglycerol. Sphingomyelin synthase, called SMS, have several isoforms. Typical one is the SMS1 and SMS2. So location is different. SMS1 located the Golgi apparatus, while SMS2 locates the plasma membrane. So once the knockdown SMS1, it's severe. This is a lethal for the survive for our life. But SMS2, once a knockout, no typical phenotype cannot observe. We don't know the exact role of the SMS2. But once it's a knockdown using a mouse or cell, it's the related metabolic disorder for type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, or sometimes they decrease a good effect for the obesity. And also our colleague, the farm, this is related for the Alzheimer's disease of that one, or also cancer, that one. So this is the belief, a kind of the very good drug target. So we have starting for the inhibitor discovery research for that one. From the natural resource, we have found the compound. This is from the isolated for the Malaysian fruit. Sometimes we can isolate for the Indonesian or Indian curry of that one. But this is especially inhibit SMS. To use the mouse proof in case of the high fat diet, normal diet, this is the weight is increasing. But once we inhibitor with the inhibitor of the SMS, they don't increase that one. So that could be the useful the obesity of that one. So to focus about to find the selective inhibitor, we have a focus of a substrate-like inhibitor. As I told you, they have two chiral center. So also we use this chiral technology. We have made 4 diastereomers and changing for the this acyl group to create new inhibitor, the synthetic inhibitor. For that purpose, we have synthesized 2 stereoisomer with the amino group, and 2 amino group we put the several kind of the acyl group to produce chiral ceramide. To make a chiral ceramide, it is critical to produce, to make the combinatorial technique. We use this combinatorial technique. Blue one shows the resin. So to the resin, we have attached for the also nitro group. From this one, we attach for the acyl group. So attached group, acyl group is several. We selected several acyl group. That is the commercial available one. This a kind of activated for the acyl group. When we combine mix it, the amino group is automatically acylated, and then without any purification, we can get the ceramide, many kind of the ceramide. So it's to make it ceramide library, that one. Here is a practical method for the acylation of that one. And once we activated resin is here. After that, we make it acid chloride and the pillaging or acid itself with the condensed reagent DCC and DMAP, that one. Shaking that and wash it and dry it. So make it activated ester with resin. When we activated ester, resin was the captured for this one. After that, we put the free amine and just shaking the 10 hours after the filtrate, and we can get the free chiral ceramide. From this one, we can make the compound library and submit it for the SMS inhibition assay. Inhibition assay system have already made it by our group, and this the genetically engineered and SMS1 and SMS2 was overexpressed and as a culture. For the genetically engineering is a little bit hard for the organic chemist, but we have a collaborator. Once we get a cell cultivation is not so difficult. We can cultivate, organic chemists, even our group can cultivate the cell and crush it and make a lysate and library and attach for the inhibitor library. And we keep the substrate which the label the fluorescence, and automatically HPLC was detected, and we observe the starting material and the reacting material, and check the inhibition rate. Here is the partial inhibition rate of that one. IC50 value of the chiral ceramide inhibition. And this is the toward SMS1, this is the toward SMS2 data. And DE is D erythro, LE is L erythro, LT is L sleo, DT is a D sleo. For example, there is some, in case of the SMS2, there is some selectivity of its depends of the chirality and also the R group. So this is a very complex to have to distinguish or analyze. So here is one of the analyzing method for this called heat map. And here, and SMS toward SMS1, toward SMS2. These four is each stereoisomer. And when is the left is the high concentrate, is the inhibition rate is very high. And the DE is a natural one. DE is a natural one. But according to this heat map, is the L sleo, not natural one. Isomer show the strong inhibitory activity toward the SMS1, the two. So controlling this chirality, we can increase the inhibition of the enzyme of that one. So the partial conclusion is the stereochemistry of the chiral ceramide library was created by solid phase synthesis, and the library was ceramide isomer screen for the SMS cell bioassay, based assay. The result suggests that L sleo isomer shows higher inhibitory activity toward SMS1 and 2. Here's the mainly work for the Dr. Yuta Murai. He's the assistant professor, and the chirality was the Toru Taniguchi, and Sekiguchi is analysis of the chiral sphingosine. And Sajio, he came from India, working for the chiral ceramide library and inhibition. Okay, here, and that's the first topics. Before the second topics, I will show you some the movie of our university. I hope it's what when you travel. So it's the first time to share the movie. Okay. Oh, ちょっと待って。It's working or I hope it's working for that. So that is our university's spring video of that one. Okay, let's go back to the again and okay, and let's go back to the talk of that one. So next, I'm going to talk about SMS infusion with the other natural product. Our strategy is like this one, and that one previously I used the synthetic library. Also, we have national library. University of Tokyo has a compound library, and this is a commercial available library. And in addition to three test strategy, we have an original natural product library. So next I'm going to talk about natural product library. So because of we are sometimes working for the local industry and the Hokkaido area we have 2,000 species of the plant. From that one, we cultivate and collected for the 650 plant extract species. We stock in the refrigerator. When create some of the biological activity method, we submitted for that one. We have submitted for the this or approximately 500 the natural product extract library to the SMS assay. And this is the toward SMS1 and SMS2, and right side the high. And this is the beautiful mountains shape of that one. From the higher plant, we have when we have found higher inhibition activity, we have tried to isolate one. One of the plant is the ginkgo biloba. When go to the north area, especially Hokkaido or Tohoku or Japan, you can find the ginkgo biloba. So it's this season it's turned to yellow. So also we have a nice ginkgo biloba street. It's right now it's turned to yellow. And also this is a famous component, which is the related for the memory recovery of that. From the biohistory guidance review, from the one product, one natural product have highly activity or toward SMS inhibition. And the structure is like this one, which has salicylic acid part and with the longer side chain. Inhibition activity is the IC50, the approximately 1.5 micromolar. This is the strongest as a natural product. Also, they have a derivatives, and which is the longer fatty acid chain with the double bond type. The most of the active, that one. And he is come from the University of Mysore, and he mainly worked for this project. And he did a lot of synthetic and isolation work of this one. He has to find out then the SAR reaction. SAR, the structure activity relationship study. We have made several and derivatives where we captured OH and the CO2H group, and also saturated double bond, change for the length. So according to his normal study, and we need a longer essential, longer hydrophobic chain is the essential. Also, the carboxylate anion is the essential. Hydroxyl group is not essential for the OH. Okay, so closely look. The one of the substrate is the sphingosine of that one, as you can see. And isolated inhibitor is the ginkgolic acid. So both has this hydrophobic part and the hydrophobic part and the hydrophilic part. Almost same shape. So we thought it is a kind of ginkgolic acid as an inhibitor is a sphingosine mimic, right? Very similar. For that's the opinion, we have changed for the OH group for the amino group. And we have done and a lot of SAR study, changing for the length and changing for the acid group and the hydroxy group of that one. So again, longer hydrophobic is very essential. And instead of the carboxylic, we installed amide. And changing for the amide for this alkyl group, we have get the selectivity for the SMS1 and 2. Here is the one of the example. I'm sorry, too small of that one. We change a lot, we synthesize a lot of things. Once we change for the acyl group, increasing the selectivity of that one. But if you install two hydrophobic part, we lose the activity of that one. From that one, so again, it's a mimic So the other, also this one could be the mimic. So the other idea is the once it's the sphingosine mimic. So as I told you, sphingosine 1-phosphate is a great messenger of this sphingosine world. So if it's a sphingosine mimic, we also can make a sphingosine 1-phosphate mimic. From that one, we introduce the phosphate group of the here, that one. Again, S1P, sphingosine 1-phosphate signaling molecular, and react S1P was the 5 receptor S1P1R1 to 5, regulated angiogenesis, vascular stability, and S1P1 interaction with the S1P is crucial for the immunomodulation. From this idea, the pharmaceutical company succeeded the blockbuster drug. The name is FTY 720. 720 is the like this structure, very similar mimic of that one. Undergo in vitro phosphorylation, immunomodulation drug, the multiple sclerosis, and started sell in 2011 in Japan and the US. Sale amount of 2012 is the $1,330 million per year. It's called the blockbuster of that one. Amazing drug. So our idea is make like the same the mimic from the using a ginkgolic acid of that one. Just for it could be the S1P mimic. So synthesize is not for the easy. I don't tell about detailed synthesis method for this one, but that's the Swami has a great effort to make successful the synthesis of this compound. Once we get the synthesis, we have to check for the S1P behavior. If the S1P was the signal transducer, it's the react with the receptor S1P1. Once with the couple, the react with that, they have a cascade is the reaction. ERK protein is the phosphate. And also same time, so this S1P receptor was the inside for the cell. So that's called internalization. We have checked for the two methods of that one. This is the phosphorylation ERK protein. So S1P is the react with the activated phosphorylation. As you can see, ERK. Once ginkgolic acid is almost zero, but the phosphoginkgolic acid you can see phosphorylated is activated. Also internalization. No treatment, we cannot see the internalization. But the S1P case, the bright fluorescent signal was the inside of the cell. And while ginkgolic acid is we cannot see, but the phosphoginkgolic acid we can see the internalization over here. So finally, we have tried to the docking study of the S1P1. S1P1 have successful for the crystallization. So we have tried the docking study using model for this one. It works very well. From these results, we conclude sphingomimic, and from the sphingomimic, this mimic is the behavior of S1P on that. This idea is the mimic idea is maybe the future drug discovery, lead to the future drug discovery of that one. Here is the acknowledged as to Swami. It comes from the India, and he has successfully get a PhD and right now work for the Riken in the Osaka as a postdoc on that one. Main player is the Murai Sensei, and he is working for the sphingolipid project, all the sphingolipid project. Okay, finally, and I will present the other movie. And the previous one is the how do you say, Hokkaido University Spring. But the other, we have 3 seasons of that one. I will show you the 3 seasons to end of this talk of that. Okay. Okay, and this is the end of my talk. Okay, and thank you for your kind attention for that one.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your informative and enlightening talk. I now call upon Ms. Bindu to take over the question and answer session.
Good afternoon, sir. There are a few questions asked by the participants. The first question, have you tried synthetic methods over enzymatic synthesis?
So far, no. And we don't have any clone about that enzymatic
Sir, you're
synthesis.
not
But,
audible, sir.
yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Hi. Yes. You cannot hear.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me or?
Yes, sir. We can hear.
Okay. So we haven't tried to the enzymatic synthesis of that one. So instead of the enzymatic synthesis, we have used some the enzymatic degradation study. We have for example, for naturally they have many and glycosylated ceramide is available. So many major components to utilize for the natural glycosic ceramide. We have used some special enzyme to the cleave the glycosylated. That is the enzymatic work is a very and works very beautiful because they have two cleavage bond. One is the glycoside bond, the other one is amide. So when we use the acid and how do you say and base to cleavage for the chemically, but it is hard to the control the selectively. So such case the enzymatic reaction was very useful for that one. So that is good for the synthetic also. That could be the useful, but we don't have any cloning technique also. We did so far we didn't of that one for the synthesis. Okay.
Can increasing DAG in edible oil reduce lifestyle diseases?
What is the oil of that one?
Pardon, sir?
What is the oil?
What is the oil? Edible oil. Any edible oil.
Vegetable
oil like.
I'm not sure. So we have several preliminary result on the some the fatty acid could be reduced, have some activity of the SMS the inhibition, but so far we don't have in exact proof of the scientifically, so we cannot say at this stage of that one. So if you fat acid is good for the reducing of weight or not, we couldn't say. But that is one of the possibility for the future of that. Thank you.
Does chemical synthesis of DAG has any further scope?
BHG. BHG. Oh, what is the BHG one?
DAG.
DAG.
Yeah.
DAG. Oh, chemical synthesis of DAG.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't tried, but it's already have one. So in case of the chemical synthesis, we have to be very careful about the maybe in the stereochemistry. Sometimes that because of they have two ester, primary and secondary ester, and the secondary ester has the chirality. Sometimes they have neighboring participation. I mean the transfer from that one. Sometimes they lose the chirality of that one. That's the esterification is itself is not difficult, so we can succeed. We probably succeeded for the using for the normal chemical reaction, but sometimes we have to be very careful about trans-esterification. We lose the exact structure of the also the chirality. So we have tried to the DAC synthesize because to make some variety. But in case of the sphingosine case, that have the amino group should be the acylated, and so amino group is have a more strong nucleophilicity than the OH group. So ester case, it's the we have tried to make the ester to use using resin because resin is the best way to the variety to make the library, but the OH group reactivity is very low, so that's why so we haven't succeeded. Amino group is only the amino group the acylation is working for the resin. That is the small information about that chemical synthesis. That is okay, no?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for your kind response.
Okay. And right now in Japan, it's the 4 o'clock. It must be in India the 12:03. Most audience it could be very hungry, isn't it?
Thank you, sir.
But we have to finish, otherwise this starved.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Bindu. I request Dr. Sandhya NC to give an overview of the session.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. I have to. Can I leave it?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, your job is ready.
Good afternoon. Professor started his presentation with the introduction to chirality and their importance. His comparison of, and also he compared chirality of lipids with Cinderella was splendid. He described about a VCD analysis of glycerol phospholipids, followed by chirality of sphingolipids. He also elaborated on chemoselective reaction of sphingosine, and also he described how to determine the stereostructure of molecules by using VCD chirality method. And also he detailed about how sphingomycin synthase 2 is involved in disease, targeting unmet medical needs such as obesity and Alzheimer's disease. And also he added a creation of a chiral ceramide library, which is oriented towards diversity. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We would look forward for a few more sessions in future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. We shall move on to the second session, wherein we have Mr. Milesh Joseph, Advanced Chemistry Development from ACT Labs, Chennai. At this juncture, I would like to remind the participants to post questions and queries in the chat box. We will be having question and answer session to answer your questions. I request Professor Britta Dominic Ryan, Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry from St. Philomena's College, to introduce our speaker.
Very good afternoon, everybody. Very good afternoon, sir. Can talk. Very good afternoon, everybody. Very good afternoon, sir, and all the participants who have joined for the session. So it's a privilege to introduce Mr. Milesh Joseph for this session. Mr. Milesh Joseph, currently working as an application scientist at the Advanced Chemistry Development Labs, Chennai. His role is in enabling customers in faster interpretation of NMR, mass, and IR spectra, as well as in analytical data management and faster method development using ACD Labs software tools in chemistry. His role also is on analytical support to small molecule drug discovery, active pharmaceutical ingredients, flavor, fragrances, and spices industry. And his role in specialization in this area includes GMP, structure verification, elucidation and quantification using NMR, chromatography, identification, and quantification of polymorphs using PXRD. Prior to ACD Labs, Mr. Milesh worked for reputed pharma companies such as Syngene International Limited, and Mylan as analytical scientists in various capacities. Milesh got his post-graduation in chemistry from St. Albert's College, Kochi, affiliated to Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, in the year 2001. Milesh got a special interest in the field of NMR applications, and he has participated in many conferences and workshops pertaining to NMR. Thank you and welcome, sir. We can proceed with your presentation.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm not able to see any of the icons to share or unmute. So can you enable that?
Yes, sir. It's seen, sir. We can see that.
Okay, yeah. But I don't have the tools to share the screen. So that I think you need to give me that permission. What I will do is I'll just join again because I'm not seeing the tools. Is that okay? Just
rejoin. Let him join.
Okay.
yeah, I can see the screen. So I can see only the audio or video as well as exit minimize view. I think you have to give me at least a co-host or okay, I will just try to rejoin. Yes.
Rejoin. Let it rejoin.
To rejoin, sir.
Share my screen. Am I audible? So just want to make sure.
Yeah, you can audible.
Okay,
You're
I'm
audible, Milesh.
Okay, yes, thank you.
You can share the screen.
Yes. host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you enable, please? I'm getting that message. Can you enable sharing the screen?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm not able to share the screen. So it is telling
Yes,
that
madam?
uh,
Hello?
host disabled the participant screen sharing option is coming. Yeah.
Right now, can you just try once again?
Okay. Yes, now it's, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so now you can see my screen, right? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir, it's visible.
Yes, visible. Right. Yeah, so you're seeing my slide in full screen, right? Yes. Yes. Or it's a partial screen. Yeah.
So I can see both the windows actually.
Both the windows, okay.
That won't be a problem, sir. Actually, it's readable. We can start it.
Okay, okay. No, I've just extended screen, so now it should be. Now you should be able to see it fully. Yes. Yeah. Hope my screen is visible now. Right now, it's the full screen, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is full screen.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay. Thanks.
You can able to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. So, just want to share something about analytical data management and uh, how our tools can help you in managing the analytical data as well as managing your teaching experiences. So about ACD Labs. So let me tell about our ACD Labs. So it is headquartered in Toronto, Canada, and we have a sales and support office in UK, Germany, France, and Asia. And just to correct, actually, I am working from Bangalore. Anand, our marketing team, working from Chennai, and it was founded in 1994, and we have over 190 all over the world. And we have always 4275 industrial customers in 89 countries. And it was founded by a scientist who is also a computer programmer. So it was a spin-off from University of Moscow. So about ACD Labs portfolio. So we have analytical, chemical intelligence, and knowledge management, and that will be the session we'll be covering today. And other than that, we have metabolite identification tools like MetaSense, Luminata for impurity management for pharmaceutical companies, as well as Catalyst DTO for high throughput catalysis or high throughput experimentations. And apart from that, again, about physicochemical properties, because in drugs, you need to understand the physicochemical properties of your compounds, whether it is active or whether it is soluble, whether it can transport or whether it is toxic or whether it is eye irritation or skin irritation. So that can be, so that properties we can do by ACD perceptor. So starting from log P, log D, pKa, and then we move to Ames test and other related tests related to drug discovery. And again, enterprise informatics systems where we can share data across different departments, different sites, and uh, different countries also. So many of our pharmaceutical clients are using that. So this is just to give you an overview of what we can provide. But our intention is to give you more idea about the first part, which is ACD Spectres and Spectres database, where it can be used as a electronic lab notebook. So my aim will be data management challenges and how ACD Labs can help, and live software demonstrations. So, what is the purpose of creating a knowledge base? Like a knowledge base enables you to retention and access, and we can access very quickly from the centralized database. Like many of your professors or the um, students, they creates a lot of information, but when a professor retires, his knowledge is always most of the time like 10%, 20% retains in the labs. Remaining things goes off with his retirement. So many companies are thinking about retaining that knowledge, like his interpretation knowledge, whatever the work he has done is easily accessible digitally, so that he can access it very quickly and uh, in a very fast manner. So what happens is like many of our universities data will be in a paper format, and finding the data is a like very uh, cumbersome process. So if you can access the data very fast, then we can improve the decision support. We can, if you have a streamlined data access, you can have a better collaboration between different departments, and it is also helps you to align with the digitization strategies, so that you can use the data beyond its initial purposes, like machine learning as well as artificial intelligence. So what an analytical scientist will do, or way people do analysis. So in discovery, they want to determine or confirm the chemical identity of a pure substance, and again measure the purity of a substance, or determine the identities of components of a complex mixtures, or in development determines causes of process manufacturing problems, or determining optimal process parameters, or prepare necessary information for regulatory bodies. So this was based on a survey conducted by CE and EN, uh, which was sponsored by ACD Labs in 2018. So as we know, majority of the labs have instruments from multiple vendors. You may have NMR from Bruker, NMR from Varian, as then HPLC from Agilent, HPLC from Waters or Shimadzu, or different instruments. And you may have to use different software to process those data. So you depend basically on the analytical chemist to process their data. So, but we have a solution which can handle these situations. And then multiple applications are used to process, interpret, manage data. So if you have a compound, you will submit for NMR, you will submit for mass, you will submit for IR, or you will submit for PXRD or XRD or single crystal XRD. And for all these, you will be using different softwares. So we can combine, or we can process all this data in one specific platform, which is called Spectrus. And again, same can be archived or added into a library. So that I'll be showing you that part. And slowly, I have seen in India, it is very slowly, but slowly people are moving towards digitizations so that data can be accessed. Also, because of COVID, many are working from home and they can access the data. So we can share the data in a more lively manner using our software. So coming to data. Academias, they will have LIMS or the CDS, common data repository places, or other kind of database systems, electronic lab notebooks. And the data is scattered among, it will be either in a MS Word, it will be in Excel sheet, it can be in a PowerPoint, or it is scattered in different machines. So all is like scattered. So how to streamline? So we can bring all this in one database, in one interface, and assemble this data in a manner such a way that it is easily accessible to everyone, and the restrictions can be applied as well. So coming to our Spectrus processor. So with ACD Spectrus platform, you can read data from Waters, Force, Jasco, Allotrope, Bruker, Varian, or many other things. And we read most of our major instrument vendor formats, and We support almost 150 vendor data formats, including open data formats like JCAM, JDX, NetCDF, MZML, Galactic, and there are emerging standards like ANML as well as allotrope. So Spectrus processor can save you, process your Proton NMR, you can process your MS, you can process your IR, your PX study, and many more datas. So then I'll be showing how ACD different scenarios we can help. So one will be like analytical experts. They will doing the analysis and they will be adding the data in specific locations so that a bench chemist can access. So it can be like one common place. They will once you submit sample, each individual analytical chemist will update the sample in one place, and another bench chemist can access the data from other place in a organized manner. So this is how a typical analytical archive. So once people analytical chemists added their data, you can see Proton, your MS as well as your other data in one place, one interface. You can access everything, and you can review. So this can be reviewed by the professors, guides, or the student can add the data, and the professors can access them. So now let me just go to the live demonstration. So before that, I just want to show like we have two options. One is local DB as well as remote DB. So local DB means it will be within the university. You can or within the computers, you can access or share the data. If it is a remote DB, you can different departments you can access, even from your home also you can access the data. So like analytical chemists will be doing the analysis, you can access your analytical data from your home. That is also possible. And not only you are accessing the data, you are accessing the live data. So earlier means a PDF data, you cannot expand or do further analysis. So this will be more lively data. So I'll be taking you through that. So let me just stop here and go to the software. So before showing that ELN, I will be starting with the NMR prediction capacities, which is our one of our best tools available in the market. So we have the data navigation panel, and like so like I can bring in my Proton NMR. So just drag and drop. I can just put in structure, or I can just do some basic integrations. So multiplet report. Yeah, so you can see that when I do a very simple integration, so you can see multiplet reporter created. So I'm just doing a fast integration of my NMR data. And you can see that on the fly, it's multiplet reports are created here. And so it is like very dynamic. So this is how you can just take a process your spectra. This is a very simple processing. And you can see the multiplet report is created, table of spectral data is created. And you can see that you can choose the different journal formats by changing JAX if you want JOC. And if you want to have a different one, you can have a user defined. And if you're not finding the things in here also, we can provide a template for that. So this is how data processing can happen with NMR. And this is a very basic processing, and we have advanced tools that is out of scope of this presentation. And so if I have a structure, I can bring in a structure and ask the software to do a verification. So I can just bring in the structure. So you can copy paste the structure here and just add, and it gives the match factor. So it's telling me that it's the matching 0.95, and these are the assignments. So this is how a very basic verification it can suggest you. And when I move my cursor over the atoms or the signals, the corresponding signals or the atoms will be highlighted. So we are assigning all the signals also. So software is assisting you to assigning the signals as well. And this can be applied to your Proton or 13C or anything. So this is one like a basic verification for processing the data. So another thing I just want to know, like show is that like if I have a structure and I want to predict a NMR spectra of that. So strychnine. So I have a strychnine and I want to predict the NMR spectra of that, how it looks. So you can see a calculator symbol and you can see that HNMR, NNMR, CNMR, NNMR. So as this structure contains N, it shows NNMR. So we predict fluorine NMR as well as 31P NMR. So right now I just want to show HNMR and I can have a predicted spectra of that. So you can see that, let me just remove unnecessary things. So now you can see that I have a predicted spectra. You can see in the watermark that calculated 1H. And this looks exactly similar to your experimental spectra. So, but again, it varies. And if you see here, excuse me, someone can mute. Yeah. So you can see here that I have a experimental spectra of strychnine, and I just want to compare. So in your case, you will have your synthesized compound spectra will be there, and you want to see whether you have synthesized the right compound, and you want to compare it. So in that time, what you can do is like you can just have a comparison, and so I have Windows Select All, I have synchronized view, so I can just look at how my predicted. You can see the calculator on the top and the uh, like experimental data down. So it's quite similar. There are slight variations in the patterns, but it looks similar. So we have that capability to predict in a very good manner. And if I want to predict 13C, I can do a 13C predictions, and I can do a N15 NMR predictions as well as. So if I want to have 13C NMR, I can do a 13C NMR predictions. So I have 13C NMR prediction. So I can just bring in my 13C and see how it will look like predicted versus the experimental. And
Nilesh,
so, yeah.
sorry for interruption.
Yeah, please.
Just emphasize that this software is not installed in instruments. We can install in the laptop. You can work in the remote. Just to emphasize that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sundar, for reminding. So this. So
this is not think this is the software should be installed in instruments.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this you don't have to install in any machines. You can take it remotely. So if you are doing analysis, your university, you're doing the analysis, and you can ask them to bring share the raw data file. So if it is from Median, it will be like a catechin.fid or your file name.fid. If it is a Bruker data, you will have normal the names you will be giving, and inside that there will be like associated data. So in this case, like this is a Bruker data. So in this case, Bruker data, this your file name with the P data will be there. So that data, if you can bring, you can. So you don't need to have an online instrument to process that sample. So you can save the time of your instrument.
So our ACD lab software installed in anyone's laptop. It is easy for them to analyze the thing. That's the key part. Yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is how we can do 13C prediction. And if I want to have N15, I can do N15 NMR. So this allows you to do N15 NMR. So you have N15. So if you want to have, so now because there is no atom, so it is not showing that fluorine icon here. So if I add a fluorine here, so I can just add. So in this area, I can just put one fluorine and ask the software. Now you can see that fluorine option coming out. So I can do a fluorine NMR prediction as well. So now you can see calculator 19F. And if I have any phosphorus, I can add one phosphorus here. This may not be chemically possible, but I just want to show that functionality. So when I put the phosphorus, you can see the PNMR as well. So you can have a phosphorus NMR prediction also. So this is how software can help you in verifying the structures or comparing the predicted versus the experimental ones. So not only proton NMR, you can predict basic 2D experiments as well as HSQC. So for that, I will take a I will remove the uh, fluorine atoms which I added here, and so that it will be a better picture. So now if I want to predict an HSQC for a basic, very simple, as you know, HSQC is a very simple 2D, and we have that 2D. So we can predict HSQC, HMBC, and some variations of HSQC as well as HMBC. Also, we can do N15 and HSQC as well. So you can see this calculated HSQC here. So you can have a comparison of predicted as well as the experimental values. And so maybe I will stop here. If somebody has some questions, I will answer those questions because any questions? I'm open for questions right now because I will be going to other sections. Yeah. Or you will ask, you want me to answer it in the last? Yeah, I assume that we'll answer. Yeah. Any questions? I assume that we'll take the question last. Okay. Yeah. So this about predictions. So sometimes people will ask how correct it is, like how, on what basis you are doing these predictions. So we have a prediction protocols available for your reference. So when I click on each atom, it shows me that my calculation protocol. So in this case, I have a similar compound available, and I can see almost similar. So I have 4 structures available, and I can see I have different solvents, and the same compound analyzed in different compounds is also available. So let me just change this structure so that I can show a little bit more. So I the similar environment present in there. So, and it will look for the weightage. It will look for the how the structure matching with the existing one, like that. So, so we have a calculation protocol. So you can see in others, we have actually 3 type of calculations. One is incremental value, and the one is neural network value, which is present in the ChemDraw, and there is an average experimental value, which is taking using the host code. Again, we are giving weightage based on the structure similarity. So if you are getting some good structure similarity, then we'll try to associate with that structure's chemical shift. So so I prefer to take a weight averaged value. So this is how we have and it gives you that confidence limit of 0.62 or 0.40. So it can be plus or minus 0.62. And uh, as a NMR spectroscopist, I'm just showing for this uh, concept for showing the concept. But as you know, proton has limitations with respect to differentiating the compounds. So I recommend using 13C because we have a very high range, very large range of chemical shift from 0 to 200 ppm. So verifying with a carbon NMR spectrum will be an ideal choice rather than a proton NMR, because when it comes to aromatic rings, you have very less space. From 6.5 to 8 will be the limitations, and from there, differentiating the isomers or the compounds will be tough. So that's why we have uh, options to do um, verification with 13C, as well as we can do with HSQC, we can do with HMBC, and we have a tool for generating structures from using from NMR spectra, combining NMR spectra as well as mass spectra, but that is out of the scope, which is structureless data. So apart from this, I just want to show one very simple tool which is maybe useful for you. Like it is like sometimes when you search in the literature, you will get so from the literature you will get many of the time you will get that. Okay, not this one. So just want to show, like if you have a multiplex report from any literature, so you can see that this is a PDF document, and from PDF document we can simulate NMR spectra from the multiplet report. So I'm just moving to the multiplet report. Yeah, so I have a multiplet report which shows me that 1H NMR in 600 megahertz solvent is chloroform, and I'm just copying this multiplet, and I'm just using the spectrum simulation, and I can just 1D NMR from multiplet report, and I can just paste it here, and I can click OK here, and it calculates the calculated 1H. So this will allow you to compare spectra visually rather than using numbers. But in case of multiplet, I am not suggesting that it will give a better representation, because multiplet which is not defined on the splitting patterns. Otherwise, when we have a splitting pattern defined, it will give a representative spectra or predicted spectra. So this is about spectrus processor and its predicting capacities, and we have many things. If you want to know more about spectrus processor and its predicting capacities and more features, you can contact Sundar, and we can have a detailed presentation on that. So before telling, I have told that we can manage various analytical techniques. So how we can manage that? So that I should show here. So like if I have MS spectra, so this is in the same interface, I can just bring in my MS spectra and Agilent, Shimatsu, any data. So you can just bring it here. So I have my MS spectra with the post 250 nanometer PDA data with one trace of 254 nanometer TAC, then total ion chromatogram, which is in positive mode and which is in a negative mode. And so I can see the spectra in the same interface. If I have a structure, I can add it here, and it automatically extract that mass here. Or if I have any molecular formula, I can paste it here. If I have a structure, I can load it here. I can give the monoisotopic mass, and when I click here, and it suggests me this. So now it is assigned me, and because it has already suggested me that this is the compound, and you can see that it shows me the mass difference in ppm, and it assigns that structure. So if I have one more structure, yeah, so so this is, you can see this is showing me that very excellent match, and it is suggesting me that this peak belongs to that. And here what happens is it looks for the monoisotopic mass of the experimental data as well as with the theoretical monoisotopic mass of this structure, and try to compare, and gives a excellent match factor. And if I have one more structure, so I can just add the structures of my interest and see whether this is present. And again, it's somewhere here, and I can adjust. So this is also showing an excellent. And what I can do is like I can do, maybe sometimes I may not have the right structure. So what I can do is I can do an editing of the structure. I can edit and see whether that is present. So you can see that it is showing different places. So dynamically I can edit the structures, and it does. So here we are not doing any prediction, but we are just looking for the mass, and it will be an easy tool for you to process or manage your LCMS data. So, and again, coming to other analytical data like IR and NMR. So, so here I have some data from, so I can bring in my FTIR, I can bring in my Raman data. So you can see that I have my Raman data, I have my FTIR data. So I can change the how it looks. You can just transform, and I can make it as like absorbance mode. So when we want to do an assignments, you need to have this mode. So I have a structure. And I can just select, and it suggests me the possible assignments. So it should be in. Yeah, I just put the wrong IR. Yeah, so this belongs to tryptophan. So if I, okay. So now you can see that it is suggesting me that void stretching. It is there. So I can do I can select some specific groups, and it's NH2 stretching. So it is suggesting me that these are the possibilities, and how you can just look at this. So it suggests you in interpretation in a like it can help you in 80% of your interpretation. Sometimes you need to put your knowledge as well. So this is how you can handle the IR data. And if you want to handle curve like a DSC TGA data, you can just bring in here. You can bring in your DSC data. So you have the tools for processing them. And if you have a TGA, you can have a TGA. And you have the tools for processing your TGA. And again, you have your X-ray diffractions. You can bring in your powder X-ray. So I'm just telling only powder XRD and XRF. So these are possible. We are not handling single crystal. But if you have any text document, you can bring it here. So this is how you can handle many analytical techniques. So now coming to our electronic lab notebooks. So I have all the spectra processed. So what I will do with that? So if I have a spectra, I will be having some reactions, or I will be doing some my synthesis or my research works. So initially, what you will be doing with your synthesis, like you'll be having a chemical workbook, or you will be having some your notebook. So initially, you will start with a reactions. So I'm just bringing in one reaction. From already created one reaction. So it's already reaction scheme is there. So one process scheme. So I have one process scheme like stage one plus this is reacting with this, and these are the my reaction scheme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add into the database. So let me just open the database and see how it will look the previously added ones. So if I So this is a typical way of seeing your data. So this is my previously created record where I have my reaction scheme and I have my uh, procedures. I can put it here. I have my reaction yield, my physicochemical properties of the compounds, and my proton, my HSQC, my mass spectrum, my my Raman, and I have some PDFs. If I want to add them, I can add them, and this will be my associated parameters for uh, each techniques. So I can choose a different layouts or different way of seeing this. So I just want to show you how it came. So when I do, so if I want to create a new lab notebook or new entry, so what I have to do is like I have to just bring in a reaction scheme. You can draw it here. We have a tool for drawing. I believe you are very good in drawing, handling the drawing package. So I'm just bringing in that. Then what I'm doing is I'm just adding this record. Yeah, and just schemas drawn. Okay. So now I am adding this into my database or my electronic lab notebook. So now you can see I have my reaction scheme here and I don't have any informations available here. So now I can ask the software when I click on the particular molecule. So I have made in such a way that I have my properties predicted automatically. And here I can just define like for this particular things, what are my concentrations or so I need a 0.01 or mass I'll give 10. So I'm just, when I give some mass, it's showing me that this is the mole and these are the reaction, this is a formula, weight formula, and the stoichiometry is the K. And it is telling me that if it is 100%, you will get this 10.243, this gram after this reaction. So it gives me the reaction yield and I can bring in my proton data. So I can just add proton. So I have, so when I done, so I'm just showing you the last part only. So maybe static material, if you're doing analysis, you can add them. So for this final, I can just bring my proton NMR. So I can go there, desktop. So I can just, so this is a proton NMR that I have. So I have one proton. I can just bring it here. So now we can see I brought in the proton NMR spectra. So in the same interface, I am bringing in my proton NMR and I can bring in my HSQC. So my HSQC in a different place. So I can bring in my this spectra here. So I just brought in my HMQC. So like that, I can bring in my IR as well as other data also. If I want to bring in my IR data, I can just bring in the IR data. So I have my IR data here. So this is how I can bring in. So if I have some procedures, I can just bring in the procedure here. I can just copy this text and I keep it here. Or if I want to type, I can type your comments here. So this is how you can manage, and this can be used as class notes as well as so that you can add. And sometimes what is the use, like if you add here, so if I want to reprocess it, so if analyst has added this data into the interface, if I want to reprocess it, I have seen that I can expand it, see. So if it is a PDF document, limitation in seeing them. So if I want to expand and see, I can expand and see. And if I want to reprocess it, I can open in again in Spectrum's processor, current Spectrum, and I can do a reprocessing of that. So I can again do the reintegration if I want. I can do the calibration. I can make that this is one, and adjust the integral values, and then I can update into the database. So this will be added here. So I can update to the existing database, and yes. So this is how, so again, I can bring in the, if I want to edit my IR, I can do that. IR also open it in the Spectrum's processor interface. So this is also possible. So right now I'm just switching back to that. So if you have any report, you can just, so now this is empty. And if you want to add any report, I can just bring in any report. So I can just bring in the PDF report. So not only PDF, you can bring in the Word document, you can bring in the Excel sheet as well. So this is how you can manage the electronic talbook. So once this, once a student finish this, so you can tell the particular your guide that you can access that. So this is a case of when you are sharing with the same computer. And in case if you are want to have a remote database, so now I am in local. If I want to remote, so if I go here, I can just define. So I can have a specialized ones, like I can have a different, like a ELN, different departments. So in your case, it may be organic chemistry, different applied chemistry, like that you can create. I have not created a representative for that. So in this case, I have an ELN. So if I want to add this, so you can give your guide that access. So so if you want, if somebody want to see the data from outside, you can ask see them. So it is a remote, so it takes based on your internet speed, it will be like update. So yeah, my system got a little bit hanged. So so remote means your internet speed plays a role. So otherwise it is quite similar to local database. So now the system is a bit hanged. So if you have any questions, you can, now it came. So this is a remote database where you can have access. So I have to click here. So I have added only few data for a representative purpose. So you can see them. So I think this second one is empty. So I can see that I have only two data here. So if I go to the first one, we'll have data. So I have my, yeah, I have my HSQC because it's it needs internet connection, so it takes a little bit more time to load. So that's how you can access data. So chemist can upload the data. So the guide can access the data from his home, from his or her home, and review and give the comments. Or if you want to reprocess it, you can reprocess it. So this is how ACD can help you in handling the live analytical data. Nobody else can do handling the live analytical data. People is doing with only one instrument. So like some people are doing with, if you have only Agilent system, then they can manage. But if you want to have a mixed set of systems, so people approach ACD labs for creating a knowledge base like this. And it's we are not quite near to the ELN. ELN is a very sophisticated ones, but for an academia, live analytical data is important, as because PDFs is useless and you cannot search. And if you see here the search options, so we can search by many things: substructure, exact structure, structure similar to the current, search from the file. So basically data name. So we can give a, you can have a Boolean search, like, so you can say that I'm looking for particular parameters in the particular file, or so like I am looking for an MS data with a collision energy of 10 or 20. That also you can define. So we can add more cases, like you can add more restrictions or uh, um, more properties you can add and search. And not only other than that, you can by find spectra by spectrum type, spectrum parameters, 1D NMR peaks, 2D NMR peaks, mass spectra, chrome peaks. So you can search by um, proton NMR spectra, or by mass spectra, or IR spectra. So I can just show you that here. Like if I have this, in this case, if I want to search here, I have to just define which database I am searching. So I'll just search in currently open database. I'll switch to the right one which I created. So in local DB only we have created the similar one. So I'll switch to local DB, which will be faster. And then I will go to the processor, and I am looking for the software. Please find me some whether I have done or previously some students has done this analysis or something similar has been done. So I can just search for this. So I am searching in the database. Now we have the same results. So we have 99.9 result, 99.92. So this is how we can search with spectra. And if you want to search with chemical structure, you can search with chemical structures. So if I want to look at some structures, I can just here I'm just drawing something which is very simple, and I just want to search whether this is there or not. So make sure that I'm in a Spectrus DB Enterprise. Go to ChemSketch. So I'll just try to search something similar to this. So I'm just see whether some students has done anything related to this type of structure, any reactions are there present or not. So I can just click here, search. So I can look for exat or a parent or a reactant, like that. I can just, so I'm just looking for similar structures. So it tells me that yeah, it's found 2-3 hits in that font query. So we have the option. Basically, our advantage with respect to others is like we can handle structure as well as spectra in a better manner than anyone else. So from our competitors, but we are in the way of ELN mode of view. We are like maybe not that much close to their part. Yeah, so this about ELN. So Sundar, you want me to say something about anything about ELN?
If you have time, should you need to show the UPOC something?
Yeah.
Or do we have time? I think we are closing the time.
Yeah, you can ask. Yeah, you can ask them. I
Madam?
think there was some chat also going on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you get JCPDS number files analyzing the powder hexadine? They're asking the JCPDS files for powder hexadine.
JCPDS powder hexadine data. I can say we read data from Bruker, Pan Analytical, and Rigaku. So I don't know which is JCPDS.
No, we don't have the JCPDS numbers. I know the JCPDS of powder hexadine, but we cannot see the JCPDS numbers here. But if you have the JCPDS numbers, you can analyze, you can plot the hexadine data, and you can take the 2 theta values. And if you have the JCPDS, and you can find the 2 theta values. Nothing else.
Yeah. So yeah,
just to, size also I can say.
Yeah, just to add that we are not doing any interpretation for XRD data, because we are not doing any structure related things. So if you are we are good in structure related interpretation for IR, Raman, mass, as well as NMR. Remaining things we can process the data. We are not doing much on that. We can process we can do the integrations anything, and we
But
can store them.
sorry, JCPD spice we don't have.
Yeah. So
And do we have time? And if you need, we can show the UPOC naming. That is the last one, right? Can
yes,
you
yes.
take one or two structures and you can show for 5 minutes. Then it'll be easy for the students.
Yeah. I think
It's almost more than the ChemDraw. People know the ChemDraw, but we are much more stronger than ChemDraw. This is our software. You can show the basic things. You can show the advanced stuff. Yeah. The most structures.
Yeah.
Still, we are approaching the time. It's fine.
Yeah. So. So this is about ACD IUPAC naming. So where here we have we not only predict the IUPAC name or generate the IUPAC name, we give the supporting information, how it has been done. So like if I click on IUPAC name here, once I draw the structures, it takes me to the interface where I have my structures and these numbers to understand like how it is done. So you can see when I click on the IUPAC name here, 1s, 3s, and associated 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1 hexadihydroxytetraene. So it shows me that group which has been used for naming, and then each compound like a methoxy. So methoxy is highlighted in red. So whatever the places I am just moving my cursor or in the name, associated structure or the fragment is highlighted. So this allows you to do a better understanding or better referencing of your IUPAC namings, and this will be a very handy tool for people for a reference purpose. And so this is it shows me that. So again, people will ask how you predicted. So in which rule you are used in IUPAC name. So then we have the rules here. Like here, if you see carb, so in the right hand side for so this hexapyronoside. So what rules are being, because you have many rules in IUPAC. Same person can give two types of names to the same structure. So you have so it's showing you that in this case I have used this particular chapter, and in this sections 2.11, so the parent that includes the functional group most preferred by general principles of organic nomenclature. So it gives that reference. So it gives you the more details reference values of how you have generated structure. So if someone asks on what basis you draw the structure, generated the IUPAC name, this is that. And one thing to add is that one of our developers is also part of IUPAC committee. So we are well informed about the changes in the IUPAC nomenclature as well as. And another thing is like if you have a IUPAC name, but this is not always works, but this is also possible. You just draw a name, write a name, and it can try to create generated structures. But this works 80% because there are limitations for that. But when it comes to draw a structure and generate an IUPAC name, we have a very good track record. And just want to say that if this tetracyclic rings of more than 20, we are not handling. So that many people, many of the drawing, they are also not, other drawing packages are not handling. So we have some limitations. It's about 1,500 some atoms, 1,050 atoms. Except hydrogen. So that if you are more interested, we can give more details about that. So with this, I would like to thank the Department of Chemistry of St. Philomena's College for providing me for the time, and Anand, Sundar, and hope you have.
If you have any questions, we can share with that.
Yeah.
I can see one question from the chat. With mass spectroscopy, is it just molecular ion or it possesses a mass of fragments? GCMS library. We have the library,
right? So let me.
You can go through that.
Yeah. Can we get with mass?
mass spectroscopy,
Is it the beginning, sir?
it's a molecular layer and process of mass of fragments. What is that?
So the Raj, can you just repeat? I am not able to see this mass. Can you repeat, Sundar? I just missed it.
I'm not hearing anything. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So I just want to, yeah. With mass spectroscopy, is it just molecular ion or it possesses mass of fragments, GCMS library? Yeah. So with this software which I shown is only looks at molecular ion. So when it says that it matches, it says that molecular ion uh, isotopic pattern it checks. So as you know that if you have a chlorine, you will have a 35 and 37, we will have a different ratio. So it will look for that ratio of isotopic pattern. Or if you have bromine, you will have approximately equal counts of your monoisotopic mass or molecular ion peaks. So it looks for that. And normally for your normal for a molecule without any heteroatoms, you will have a carbon 13C ratio, 13C monoisotopic mass ratio. Like isotopic pattern will be like a 99.1 or plus 1, 99 and 1. So that ratio it checks and see. And for uh, further advanced processing, we have a GCMS library from NIST. So you need to buy that additionally if you want to search it. So NIST and Wiley, we supplies it as third party. So that case, what we can do is in GCMS, you can search in the database and try to find a matching fragments. And many of our customers, and one more thing is GCMS is quite simple, not quite simple. There are a lot of information available for GCMS, and it's like a very fragmentations are very well studied. And many of our customers who are like flavors or which has LCMS or handling the data, handling the compounds with a soluble, water soluble, or non-volatile things, then they will use LCMS, and they're creating a database like an database of LCMS with a different collision energies and store it in a database spectral, create a spectral library and use it as a reference. So that also you can make if you have so being a research institute, if you have if your students has collected many data, so you can store it in one specific place, that keep all the LCMS data in one place, and at later time you can search whether this molecule is already analyzed by someone else or not. So that is also possible, but that is actually LCMS is needs very careful curation of the data. You need to have a different collision energy, and LCMS cannot be reproduced with a like a GCMS. GCMS, any instrument you do, the ionization will be almost similar pattern. But LCMS, if you use same machine, if you use with the different buffers or different solvents or different ionizations, you will have different fragmentation patterns. So many of our customer, what does is they will try to fix the buffers as well as the solvents, and they will create a collision data spectra of collision energy of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And then for one particular molecule, they'll store it like that. And then later time, they can use it. So that is about LCMS. And you can create a database of your NMR as well. So you can very good data can be stored in NMR, so you can search for that data. Also, your IR data can be stored as a separate. So in pharmaceutical industry, most of the people are creating LCMS database because they have to create their own databases. And other petrochemicals, we have seen that they are making IR databases, spectral libraries. So it's up to you which library you want. If you want to have a separate library, you can make it a separate library. Or if you want to have a one molecule, all the techniques, you can make it as a like a reference database also you can make. So it's up to the requirements. Or in your case, maybe like it's like a to make a uniform thing will be difficult. So you can create your own student lab notebook. This can be searchable by spectra as well as, and maybe you can make a organic chemistry one record or your applied chemistry one section, or your polymer will be different section, so that you can uh, create a different record sets. Yes. Any questions? Sorry, maybe I have just taken more time.
Thank you, sir, for
Yes.
the words of knowledge.
Yes.
Already, sir has answered for the questions, which is posted in the chat box.
Yes.
Participants, if you have any queries, write it to his email ID, which is given in the chat box. I now request Professor Brito Dominic Ryan to give an overview of the session.
So it's really nice. The session, I do remember almost 20 years ago when I got my system, first PC. I used to download a free software of ACD Labs. Using that, I used to draw structure and incorporate onto my notes. So thank you, sir, for the wonderful work that you
Thank you,
started
sir.
maybe
Thank you.
many years back.
So yeah,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Everyone
So
started with that. Yeah, thank you.
it's my duty and privilege of highlighting the work of today's session of Mr. Milesh Joseph, application scientist, whose software so his focus was mainly on how effective analytical data management and the years to come. The benefits, the importance of analytical data in R&D, the different levels of ADMS, analytical data management system, how different spectral data can be integrated in one platform of software, how reaction scheme can also be incorporated, and its spectral and analytical information can be predicted. And almost towards the last, he brought about how verification can be done.
Session of the international webinar, Trends in Chemical Science, Challenges and Opportunities. I request all the participants to fill the feedback come attendance form. Valedictory is not the end but beginning of new endless story. With this, we shall move on to the valedictory function. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the valedictory function of the 3-day international webinar on trends in chemical science, opportunities and challenges. Now, I call upon Dr. Asha MS, Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry, to kindly summarize the sessions of the 3-day webinar.
Thank you, madam. The 3-day international webinar on trends in chemical science, challenges and opportunities held at St. Philomena's College by the Department of Chemistry, Mysore on 4th, 5th and 6th November 2020. The webinar was aimed to bring together national and international academic scientists, experts, and all researchers to share their knowledge, experiences, and to promote interdisciplinary approaches on all aspects of chemical science. Dr. K.S. Rangappa, the distinguished professor and former Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, and KSOU, the Rector Manager, Reverend Father Bernard Prakash Parnis, Dr. Ruth Shantakumari, Principal, Professor Othbert Pinto, Director of PG Department, Dr. Alphonsus de Souza, Head of the Chemistry Department UG, and Dr. Asha MS, Head of the Chemistry Department PG, graced the inaugural session. Principal Dr. Ruth Shantakumari welcomed the dignitaries. The chief guest, Dr. K.S. Rangappa, inaugurated the webinar
and in his keynote address, congratulated the chemistry department for conducting webinar during the crisis of COVID-19 pandemic, in which he insisted that the young researchers to focus on multidisciplinary activity. He stressed that the research should reach the society, common man, needy, and should enhance the scientific status of the country. He concluded that the chemical sciences can play an important role in solving the challenges faced by the world and in improving the everyday lives of the people today and in the future. The speakers of the webinar highlighted various aspects of chemical science. On the first day of first session, Professor Biju Vasudevan Pillai, Laboratory of Molecular Photonics, RIES, Hokkaido University, Japan, spoke on the topic, The Story of Two Nanocrystals, Metal Chalcogenide and Metal Halide Quantum Dot, wherein he focused on the chalcogenide quantum dots versus halide perovskites, properties and applications of quantum dots, and limitations of semiconductor nanocrystals. He discussed on tuning of nanoparticles by classical synthesis, that is top-down lithography, bottom-up chemical vapor deposition, and molecular beam epitaxy. He emphasized on advantages and limitations under colloidal synthesis. Property Research Institute, NISO, spoke on the topic NMR spectroscopy, an interdisciplinary tool, wherein he focused on the applications of NMR from basic science to the advanced methodologies for the 3D structure determination. He highlighted on the parameters of problem solving with routine sensitivity of NMR, which depend mainly on natural abundance. He also elaborated about the dynamic nuclear polarization, how to introduce the radical in the sample, applications, surface enhanced and impregnation DNP on formulation with examples. The second session was carried over by Ms. Apurva, CEO Startup Webinar Park, spoke on the topic LaTeX software system for document preparation, wherein she focused on the advantages of LaTeX over MS Word. She briefed about the insertion of table, images, chemical equations, drawing molecules, and formatting of references. On the third day of first session, Professor Kenji Monde, Faculty of Advanced Life Science, Hokkaido University, Japan, spoke on the topic Natural and Synthetic Inhibitors of Lipid-Related Enzyme Targeting Metabolic Syndrome, Cancer and Alzheimer's Disease, wherein he emphasized about the chirality of biomolecules, in which concentrated on chirality of lipids, advantages, disadvantages, and spectra of vibrational circular dichroism. Under this, he briefed about analysis of OPA-based sphingosine, creation of chiral ceramide library, and study their stereochemical effects on sphingomyelin, and SMS inhibition assay system with several libraries. The second session was carried out by Mr. Milesh Joseph, Advanced Chemistry Development, in charge ACD Labs, Chennai, spoke on the topic Basic Software Tools for NMR Predictions and Electronic Notebook Solutions, wherein he presented about the benefits of effective analytical data management, the importance of analytical data in R&D. He elaborated about live demo, ADMS, Spectrus database, different levels of commitment to ADMS, local and remote. I'm sure that the exchange ideas, knowledge, and experiences of virtually conducted sessions of this webinar benefited to wider humanities and science communities and for upcoming researchers. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I now request our beloved Professor Othbert Pinto, Director, PG Studies and Research Centers and Philomena's College, to render the valedictory note.
Greetings to all the participants. for spending valuable 3 days with us. And also I congratulate our organizers, Department of Chemistry, for organizing this international webinar. Conducting an international conference was the dream of the chemistry department. Every year they're planning it, and it was not materialized. Now, the digital platform has brought the entire world together, and they have utilized this opportunity to organize this international webinar. And the entire success has to go to our faculty members of the Department of Chemistry. For the last 3 months, they were running around, putting the mails, requesting the various resource person to speak on some of the topics. And the 3 days proceedings, Dr. Asha Madam has presented it. And as the Professor Angappa has suggested, it is a chemistry has a wider approach when it is used as a multidisciplinary concept, and that cannot happen overnight. And they inform in the department they've already started interdisciplinary concept in their curriculum, which they are designed now, where they are giving more stress on learning outcomes. Perhaps my request to the department is to widen your research with a multidisciplinary concept so that it reaches to the needs of the society. As we are aware, the COVID has come surprisingly to us, and the theme of the webinar also was that making a clear indication to the participants and entire the world that the scientific fraternity has faced the challenges, and they are not let it down the people under COVID pandemic, but there may be little delay in finding a solution. We are hopeful that chemistry will step in, and it has already linked with the medical sciences and engineering sciences. So this is a good opportunity for all of us to learn from the people around the world what type of the research activities and what is the development that is taking place in not only chemical sciences, but also medical sciences. Maybe we need to go further and have such, may not be possible for international webinar like of this type. It requires lots of preparations. Perhaps we can organize regularly the sessions or talks from the eminent speakers, both in the research as well as industry, which may help the students to develop a very good research culture among themselves. So, and again, I congratulate in this particular case the effort they put. I have seen the effort they have taken it for international conference on behalf of the management and on behalf of all the students and the faculties of the college. I congratulate and appreciate their efforts, and I pray success in their future ventures. Keep up your good work. Thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, sir. With the quote by Dalai Lama, the roots of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation. I think we now have a very unique opportunity to thank each and everyone who has directly and indirectly contributed for the successful completion of this webinar. I now request Dr. Shivkumar, Associate Professor from Department of Chemistry, to render vote of thanks. Thank you.
All that begins well ends well. We have come to an end of today's session. I would like to acknowledge the blessings of the Almighty that made session a success. I would say Williams and more thank you, Your Excellency. I thank you, beloved Rector, Reverend Father Bernard Prakash Barnes, for his marvelous support and encouragement. I humbly thank you, Father. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Reverend Father Leslie Moraz, the Episcopal Vicar of Healthcare and Education, for gracing our occasion. I wholeheartedly thank you, Father. I thank you, Reverend Father Maria Xavier, our Vice Rector, Reverend Father John Paul, Administrator, for their continuous support and guidance. I sincerely thank our speakers, Professor K.S. Rangappa, Professor Biju Vasudevan Pillai, Professor Kenji Monde, Ms. Apurva, Dr. Sachin Rama Chaudhary, Mr. Milesh Joseph, for the pearls of wisdom of enlightenment. I would especially like to thank our journalism department for extending their support in conducting Dr. Alfonso de Souza, Dr. Ravi Saldana, Professor Agnes Silvia de Souza, Professor Brito Dominic Ryan, Miss Bindu, Miss Archana, Dr. Asha MS, Dr. B. Shaila, Dr. Nandini, Dr. Sandhya, Dr. Zabi Ullah, for all your enthusiastic support and efforts. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for your active participation in the webinar and making this event a grand success. Finally, I thank all those directly or indirectly supporting for the success of this 3-day webinar. Thank you, one and all.